Anthony Mangnall.
It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and can I congratulate the Honourable Lady from Richmond Park on securing this debate. As we all know, and as she rightly said, it was only a matter of a few weeks ago that we were discussing this issue from an almost united position across the House to say that we were displeased with the white paper and the housing algorithm. But I would like to start off by thanking the Minister, because he has routinely engaged with those who have had concerns on this issue. He's a credit to the department and, in fact, has alleviated many of the concerns that I have had on various aspects. And while I'm unable to completely support all elements of the housing white paper, or indeed the algorithm, I am aware that there are some very significant positive parts to it, and I hope that we can build on that going forward. Of course, we've heard a little bit too much about the nature of Cornwall, and I'd say that we might well be told that everyone fancies a bit of Cornwall, but of course we favour Devon more. And it's very important, as the member for East Hampshire raised, that where you have constituencies like mine in Totnes and South Devon, where there is a national park in the north and an area of outstanding natural beauty in the south, and that small gap in between, which is now the focal point under the white paper for where development would happen, that this needs to be taken into consideration. Otherwise, I am likely to see all of the housing requirements put in that small specific area, which would be totally unfit and totally inappropriate. And of course, areas like mine in Totnes and South Devon, where we have areas of outstanding natural beauty and national parks, are also a tourist destination. They are also an area in which second homes are purchased at a huge rate of knots. So when houses are built, even with the best of intentions to be able to give them to local people, to sell them at affordable prices, they all too often end up as second homes, and therefore don't allow the opportunity to be able to transition into homes for people who will live and work in the area in the future. Now, there is an appropriate level, which is this tiered system, and I do think there is some validity in it, and I hope we can be able to expand. I look forward to hearing the Minister's comments. But one objection that I do have to the white paper in its entirety is the lack of mention of rural areas. In fact, if I were to go through the document again, I think rural is only mentioned once in a significant category. And I think it's important that we understand that the rural build structure is very different to that of the urban one, and we need to be able to understand what is best for the rural community and how we are to achieve it in the same way, something I'm sure that my colleagues from the South West would universally agree with. And of course, there are also areas of extraordinary success. So South Hams District Council in my own constituency has very successfully implemented a joint local plan with Plymouth, where they have met their housing targets, they have continued to deliver for the people of South Devon. That plan should not be taken away just because we're looking at new reforms. The third point I would just like to make, which the Honourable Lady for West Worcestershire made with a great effect, was that of neighbourhood plans. We know the value of communities engaging in this process. They know what is best for their area. Whether I think about Colleton St Mary and their fantastic neighbourhood plan, or new neighbourhood plans that are being formulated in Dartmouth, these are all places where we can engage with the community and make sure we are building what is right for them, right for the area, and making sure that it has a long-term benefit to the... I would be delighted to.
Since it is important that we also hear about Bath, is it not also true that local councils know best? And actually, there are 1,500 homes in Bath that are permitted to be built. You know, the council has made the decision. It's the developers who don't build the homes. It's not the councils who don't make the decisions to build the homes.
She makes a very important point. I think, like all these things, it's finding balance, but I would always argue that including the local community in that decision and making sure that the right decisions are made at the right times, that is maintained. The last point I just want to make is about jobs. We should not be building in areas where there are not jobs to be able to sustain them. We need to make sure that there is an approach in which jobs are available so that people can live and work in the area and also afford those homes. And the second point that I'd like to make to that point is about infrastructure viability. All too often I have seen housing development plans that are proposed without the adequate level of infrastructure. If the Minister could add to the point about how we're going to be able to deliver on the infrastructure network, how we can make sure that we are building in those right areas, not on floodplains, not on next to roads that can't be able to deal with the increase. And I'd be really pleased to be able to go back to my constituents and inform them that we are cultivating and creating policy that is going to make a difference in delivering for those new housing sites. So as I say, there are elements that I welcome in the White Paper. I thank the Minister for what he has done and is doing, and I think it's right that we recognise that 250,000 homes delivered is a massive achievement and something that has not been achieved by previous governments. So I congratulate him on that, and I very much look forward to working with him and his team to shape this housing policy for the future.
Thank you. Lee